There was just too much incest in the show. Every season, it was more and more incest. It was just so weird. What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be ranking Shadowhunters characters. Now, I feel like a lot of people forgot about Shadowhunters. I think it came out in 2015 or 16, I believe it came out in. I feel like a lot of people forgot about it, but at the time when it was coming out, it was really popular. It had a huge fan base, obviously because like they had a movie that came out before it, The Mortal Instruments. Everybody already knew about that universe, but they just made it into a show on Freeform. Not to mention the controversy that came out when one of their main cast members said a slur on Twitter Live. It was just a mess. The whole thing was just a whole mess, y'all. I honestly feel like Shadowhunters had a lot of weird themes as well in this show. Incest thing with the brother and sister, Clary and Jace. They were siblings who, you know, didn't know they were siblings. Not even the show, but like the books in general. There was just like a whole Sweet Home Alabama vibe going around it. Like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. That's why it's canceled. Before we get into the video, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see all my other rankings I've done, I have an entire playlist. I'll leave that also in the description and you guys can check that out after the video. All right, coming in at the bottom of my list is Jordan. Now, what purpose was he supposed to serve? I think he was a werewolf. He didn't do anything that left an impression on me other than his relationship with Maya. That was the only interesting thing about his character. After that, when he died, I don't know, I just feel like they were just trying to, they wrote him into the show and then they were just trying to like write him off the show immediately. He had no significance in the show. Let me know, book readers of The Mortal Instruments, if you guys read the books, Jordan, was his character supposed to be a lot more interesting? Because in the show they did a horrible job with him. I bet you people who aren't fans of the books and just watch the show, if you say the name Jordan, they'll be like, what? Who? Even me, when I was making this list, I was like, oh my god, Jordan was a character in the show. He was boring. I bet you 10 Jordan fans are gonna come out of nowhere in the comments and be like, what? I know y'all gonna be in the comments. Do not get on me. He was boring in the show. Speaking of Maya, she's up next. I think she was introduced in the second half of season 2 and she was a werewolf. Then she became a part of Luke's pack. I hated when they made her like her entrance in the show. They made her and Jace have a little fling. What was the point of making that happen? Like, that was so unnecessary and so weird. I get it was like a one-time thing, but again, with the writing, it was so unnecessary. I will say I do feel like she had a better relationship with Simon than Jordan. I know Jordan in the books, people were saying that that was supposed to be her real, like, actually, like, they were supposed to have an actual real relationship, but in the show she was way better with Simon in the show. But again, what exactly was her purpose? I know she was like a werewolf, she's in a pack, she kind of had like a leader voice. Like, other than Luke, she was like kind of like the lead voice, but other than that, what was her purpose in the show? She also didn't do anything for me. I didn't give her anything interesting in her story, I feel like, other than her backstory of how like her and Luke's relationship came about. But like, other than that, they didn't give her any type of development in the show. I barely remember any of her scenes. Maya, you're at number 9. Coming up next is Luke. I didn't at all hate Luke's character at all in the show. I feel like he served his purpose. Obviously, he was supposed to be like Clary's like second dad, stepdad. He was the dad who stepped up because her dad, Valentine, was actually horrible. But I feel like I liked Luke's character. He was very helpful in the show. I don't know how I feel about his relationship with Maris, like Alec and Izzy's mom. I get they were trying to give him a love interest towards the end of the show, but I don't know how I feel about their relationship. I feel like it was kind of rushed. I mean, I don't mind. It wasn't like a huge shifter of the story, their relationship, but I just feel like it kind of came out of nowhere towards the end of the show. But yeah, Luke was the only decent werewolf in this show. All the other werewolves, Maya, Jordan, I mean, I get he is the alpha. He's supposed to be the most useful werewolf, but I mean, like, of all the other werewolves in the show that were written, Luke was the best written. I feel like the werewolves barely had a presence in this show. It was mainly the vampires, the Shadowhunters, angels. I feel like the werewolves were kind of like, what? I don't know. All right, coming up next is a fan favorite, Simon. I found Simon's character very annoying. After he turned into a vampire, he kind of became a little, you know, more, you know, ooh, okay, he's not as annoying as I thought. Compared to a lot of people in the fan base, Simon was actually he's among the most popular ones in the fan base, which I never got. Like, he was just always very annoying to me. His relationship with Clary was cute. I will say it was cute, but it just didn't work for me. I feel like their personalities were too similar. They're both kind of like goofy. No, Clary did a bad boy, okay? She did a bad boy. She didn't need the guy next door. Simon was a sweetheart, but she didn't, no. I don't know. I feel like the writers in the show were trying to get it over with because, you know, in the books, Clary and Simon had a thing, and then Clary and Jace had a thing. I feel like they were trying to get the Kleiman relationship out of the way because people and the fans were always, that's one thing about this show, like the fans tried to control everything that happened in this show. They were a cute couple, but I feel like not too compatible. They just were meant to be friends, and that's what they were in the end, just friends. I think they did a good job making him and Izzy, and then Clary and Jace, like that's perfect differing personalities. Izzy's kind of more, you know, wild, and Simon's, like, they did a good job separating that. I liked how that ended up happening because otherwise it would have been a hot mess. Coming up next is Jace. I never got the like, ooh, heartthrob thing with Jace. I'm sorry, it was always Alec for me that was like that. Jace, I feel like for a good chunk of the show was a complete douchebag. I don't know why. Again, in the books, probably that was what he was supposed to be, you know, like the cocky, arrogant Shadowhunter, but like I'm not a fan of those types of characters, like, at all. I will say it was kind of weird how they made him and Clary have a relationship, and then they made Valentine lie and be like, y'all are siblings, and then at the end they revealed, no, you're not actually siblings, I lied, but I am Clary's dad, but I'm just not your dad. That was weird. I feel like the writers just wanted more incest in the show. That was so unnecessary to make them siblings, not siblings, siblings, then siblings. Like, that was so weird, and there's like, it was just awkward. Is it just me, or I feel like him and Clary didn't have that much good chemistry? I feel like in the show, like the actors, it felt like both of them were just trying to get it over with. I know, like in the show at the time, like the actor, Jace's actor, Dom, he actually had a relationship in real life, but I feel like acting wise, I didn't feel the joy. I didn't feel the love. Like, where's the joy? Where's the love? I didn't feel it. They're a good ship though. I feel like they work together, but acting wise, like compatibility wise, the actors, I don't know. They just I did not see the love. I also felt like it was so unnecessary in the beginning that they made Alec like Jace. But like in the show, they were like kind of like siblings. Izzy, Jace, and Alec, they were kind of like siblings. Even they're not blood related with Jace, but like they were seen as like siblings. They took him in, so I found it kind of weird that they made Alec have a crush on him. Do y'all remember that in the first season? That's another, like, they were trying to force incest on us. What was going on? I don't know. It was kind of weird. Overall though, Jace's character, I will say he developed a little bit. Y'all, when he died, I thought he was actually dead. I thought like the show, it was gonna end soon. Season 3 was gonna be the last season of the show. They were gonna kill him off, and then they made Clary bring him back with the wish, whatever. I thought he was dead though. They didn't want to rock the boat. The times that I enjoyed Jace on screen was when he was fighting. I did like their relationship as as being spiritual, connected. That was my favorite part and aspect of Jace's character in the show, when he was fighting and that. All right, coming in at number 5 is the main character, Clary. We have a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. I personally did not hate her as much as a lot of people in the fan base did not like her. In season 1, I absolutely did not like Clary's character. She was just so annoying. I need somebody to help me, save me, find my mom. She was just very, very, very annoying. I get why Alec didn't like her at all in the beginning of the show. Like, I didn't either. I was right there with Alec. Every time she would show up, Alec would be like, oh my god, this girl again, this girl again. Every time she came on screen, he did not like her in season 1, and I didn't either. She was just very, I was so happy in season 2 that she finally got a hold of her powers and, you know, wasn't as annoying and needy all the time. She could actually take care of herself. I loved that they developed her like that. I actually really, really liked Clary in season 3. I loved that. When she was alone and separated from them, especially, and she was with Jonathan, her brother, I liked that Clary. I liked her. That whole, like, when she was getting her angel's powers and, you know, evolving, that was my favorite part of Clary's character. But I get why a lot of people just don't like her. Like, there's a lot of people in the fan base that do like her, but there are a good chunk of people who just absolutely do not like Clary in the show. There was just so many horrible pairings for Clary in the show, like her and Sebastian, which was actually her brother Jonathan. That was just weird. And then again, you guys know, like I said about Jace, the quote-unquote them being related but them not being related. There was just too much incest going on in this show. Too much incest. I didn't like the weird aspect of her and Jonathan, but I did like her, like when she was trying to get away from him. Guys, that part in season 3 when they were like bonded together, so anything that happened to him happened to her. That was crazy. That was good writing. They only started to get better at writing towards the end of the show. Yeah, overall Clary, I didn't like her in the beginning, but I did end up coming around a little bit to her. Not too much on Clary, guys. All right, coming up next is Jonathan / Sebastian. The first actor they had that played Sebastian should have been the actor they had at the end. The person who played him the first time when he was blonde was perfect. If there was any way to keep him as the main actor for Jonathan, that would have been perfect. He acted his butt off. When he came in season 2, I loved it. He took the acting on the show to another level. I love Sebastian's character. He was like deceitful, you know, he was trying to fool them, trying to be like, oh, I'm from this institute. But him actually being Clary's brother, like that was insane. Oh, when he kissed her, I was like, you're her brother. That scene was very awkward and disgusting to me, guys. Oh my god, this show 14 when I was watching this show, and all this incest, y'all. It was just disgusting. It's not hard to write a villain, so it's not hard to make fans like hate a villain. So I feel like that's what they did right with his character. They made me feel disgusted. I feel like they did a good job writing his character for what they had in the show. For the 3 seasons they had, they did a pretty good job with Jonathan. So that's why he's at number 4. All right, guys, we're at the top 3. Number 3 is Isabelle. I liked Isabelle's character. I really liked her character. I also don't see too many people that hate her in the family. Like, people like her more than they like Clary. She was my favorite female character in the show, Isabelle. I loved her. In the beginning, you know, she was just like, you know, the hot sister, you know, fought in heels, high heels. But I like that they made her in season 2 have that like struggle when she was addicted to, I forgot what it was called, like the poison. She was addicted to the vampire venom thing. That was her character development in the show. I feel like they did hers right, perfectly timed, like right in the middle of the show. Like, she went through that addiction and like that whole like horrible relationship she had with Raphael. That was really good writing for Izzy. I feel like they did her character development the best. They gave her storyline. That's what I like. With Izzy, they didn't let her become just a throwaway character. They actually give her decent storylines in the show. Season 2 though was her best storyline. I don't care. But her getting over that in season 2, getting off of it and then becoming herself again, that was really good writing for Isabelle. I loved her, and she was gorgeous. Like, I feel like they casted her perfectly. I wish they had more time to develop her and Simon's relationship, because again, in the books, people say that they were supposed to be endgame, her and Simon. They didn't, again, the show got canceled in season 3, so they didn't have that much time to write the relationship for her and Simon. But I feel like they should have had a little bit more than what they got in the show. It was kind of rushed. Addiction aside, her and Raphael, I feel like we're actually really cute together. I don't know, is that just me? I don't know. I feel like I liked them together. So Izzy, you're at number 3. I loved your character. All right, and coming in at number 2 is Alec. Now, I will say for Alec, his story I feel like was the most complete. Him and Magnus's relationship, they did handle it really well in the show. I will say it was what was keeping the show alive. If anything, I feel like Malik was like the most popular thing about Shadowhunters, even more popular than Clary and Jace, which was like the main relationship in the books. Malik was the life, the blood, like everything of this show. Like the fan base and the viewership, most of it came from Malik. In the beginning, I think his character was perfectly written. He was supposed to be the standoffish, you know, character, super quiet, super reserved. I did like how he didn't like Clary in the beginning. I feel like that relationship was like a kind of like a little sister relationship. I kind of liked that. I loved that relationship. The wedding, guys, the wedding at the end of season 1, I still feel like that's the best episode of Shadowhunters. When he was about to marry the blonde haired girl and then Magnus came in and stopped it. That was the best. Better than the finale, better than the reveal of the brother and sister. The wedding was the best episode. Am I the only one who feels that way? I don't know. But I will say overall, they handled him and Magnus's relationship, I would say, the best of all the relationships in the show. Clary and Jace, Izzy and Simon. I feel like Malik was the best well written. I feel like they prioritized it too, because without Malik, the show would be nothing. And coming in at number 1 is the most interesting character I feel like in the whole universe, Magnus. Aside from, again, like what I said about his relationship with Alec, I feel like he was so interesting. I love that he had that, like, those couple episodes where he lost his powers and didn't know how to really function without them, because that's what he's had his entire life. But seeing him as like human, quote unquote, was really interesting for me. I feel like Magnus had like had the potential to get his own spin-off show wise, and like he had so much. He's, you know, he's lived for hundreds of years or whatever. I feel like they actually had the potential to give Magnus a spin-off in the show. Again, it was canceled, so that wouldn't be happening, but I will say, like, in the show, he was my absolute favorite. Every time he was on screen, it was very interesting. And like I said, in that season where he was just without his powers, he was a human for a while, and then he came back and realized, you know what, you're more than your powers, which I feel like they did perfectly with his development in the show. Harry, he did a good job acting out Magnus. Show-wise, he did a good job embodying the character. So, and the Warlocks, I feel like, were the best downworlders of all of them. They were the most interesting. All right, guys, that was ranking Shadowhunters characters. I know this one is a little longer, but I just had a lot to unpack. This show was just complete. Like, I feel like it was a fever dream, this show. But let me know in the comments who was your favorite character and your least favorite, and also tell me if you like the show or the movie better. Overall, I'll give the show a 7 out of 10, 6 or 7 out of 10, because, you know, at least it kept me watching. I watched all 3 seasons, so it had to do something for me. So I'll give it like a 6.57 out of 10. Again, if you guys want to see more rankings like this, I have an entire playlist. I'll leave that in the description. Don't forget to check that out after the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.